One of our readers compared these Disney World hotels to Motel 6. Today we're going over Disney World's most hated hotels and why they might actually be the best. Hey everybody, it's Chris for AllEars TV and AllEars.net. Because there's a right and a wrong fit for everyone, we're on a quest to find the best and worst Disney World hotels for you. Today we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the all-star resorts. And we got this info straight from you. We're gonna go over the resorts that so many love and hate, but we're not gonna tell you what we think until the end.
Sports, music, movies, all-star resorts on Disney property.
3 of the cheapest hotels available in Disney World are the all-star resorts, and there are 3 different themed areas to choose from, including movies, music, and sports. But while they're often the cheapest option, not everyone thinks Disney's value resorts are a really great value.
I have stayed at the all-star resorts a number of times. So I've stayed a lot because I do like to not spend a lot of money and to still get a bus to my hotel straight from the gates of Magic Kingdom. All stars. That's what happens. That's what happens when you want those 2 things. They are definitely not as nice as the other Disney hotels. There are refurbishments going on that are making the rooms much nicer, but the rooms that have yet to be refurbished feel very old, very outdated, and not very well upkept. A big negative, there's typically large groups, sometimes cheer competitions or other sports competitions will all stay at the All-Stars while they're playing at ESPN Wide World of Sports. And then you've got a million cheer dance children there. And you are also there. And you're like, whoa now.
Each hotel comes with outdoor entry rooms, a gift shop, and a food court, and buses are the only form of Disney transportation available. The average cost is around $197 per night, and a lot of people don't think the cost is worth it.
I used to think the all-star resorts were gross, okay? They were. I'm sorry. Have you seen those old reviews with pictures of mildew and watermarks and stuff like that? It wasn't good, but now the remodeled rooms are incredible. They have released some plant-based menu items in their cafeterias that I really like. A plant-based tuna salad sandwich and a really good salad and a cupcake. There's fun things for plant-based eaters to get there. And it used to be just a plate of spaghetti with some sauce and, good luck. So things have gotten a lot better over there, and I really like the theming of them, with the exception of sports. I'm not a big sports person, but movies and music has some really cool theming. I am now a fan of the all-star resorts, even sports, because of the cafeteria and the new menu options. I'm a fan.
The all-star resorts tend to be popular with large groups, especially when they're traveling from schools or involved with sporting events, so it can get loud and crowded. You're not getting any fancy amenities here, but you do still get access to pools and a pool bar at each hotel.
Okay, all-stars have some good qualities. I can like an all-stars, but one thing that you really should know is that if you want to sleep, this might not be the best option for you. If you have a specific sleeping schedule, you need to know that big groups can definitely get loud, and that is what All-Star is made for, is big groups. I have stayed with the cheerleading groups and the tour groups at an All-Stars, and they do impact the sound quality. If that's not something that bothers you, then that's not something to worry about. But if you're like me, and you kind of are affected by noise when you try to go to sleep, whether it's for your naps in between the parks or if it's at night, this is definitely something to consider.
All 3 resorts generally share buses, meaning you might need to sit through multiple stops depending on where you're staying. And because so many large groups stay at the All-Stars, you might find it difficult to find space on a bus at peak times.
One of the things about the all-star resorts that a lot of people don't like is the fact that they are so far away from the rest of all the other Disney properties. The all-star resorts are a fair distance away from the theme parks as well as some of the other resorts. Some of the other resorts are kind of clustered around the theme parks or more closer to Disney Springs, but all of the All-Star resorts are kind of off to the side, so it might take you a little bit to get to and from the parks.
An anonymous reader said that they would only stay there if there was no other place on property, while a number of other readers complained about the small room sizes, thin walls, and loud guests.
I have to partially disagree with this anonymous review because here's the thing. The rooms are small. They're not that small. If you're staying with a family of 4, 2 kids, 2 adults, you're probably gonna have enough room. It's gonna be, pinchy, but you'll have enough room. If you're staying with more than 2 adults, that's when things might get a little more hectic. The walls are definitely thin, but I'll tell you what, right now, the walls aren't that thick at the other Disney resorts. I have had probably my worst nights of sleep noise-wise was staying at the Beach Club. The Beach Club, way more than I'd spend at an All-Star, and I had more of a trouble with noise at the Beach Club. It's a hotel. They don't soundproof the rooms. They don't do that in any hotels. And you're at Disney World, so there are going to be kids running around. There's going to be music coming from the pools. There's going to be loud cheer dance girls in your hallway. Maybe not. Maybe not that last one.
Reader Sugar Pie 7 said, "Through my job, I've stayed at a lot of different hotel chains at all price points, but Disney's value resorts are some of the worst. They are not anywhere near up to the Disney standard, or at least the Disney standard that used to exist."
Okay, Sugar Pie 7, love your name. I would just question how long ago you stayed there and wrote this review, because it doesn't sound consistent with the remodeled rooms. Maybe it is, and maybe you can tell us in the comments of this video or write a new review. But I believe, my guess is that this was written before the remodel and before some of the new menu items were added to the cafeteria. I would encourage you to give it another try and see if you change your tune, because my tune has been changed. I think that these are pretty solid at this point.
Before we continue, remember to head over to AllEars socials on Facebook and Instagram for more Disney World polls, and AllEars.net to leave your reviews for everything Disney parks related: hotels, restaurants, rides, festivals, and so much more. If all you plan to do in Disney World is spend as much time as possible in the parks, do you really need a ton of hotel amenities? That's a big question, and a lot of our readers don't think so and find perks of staying at any Disney hotel, like early park entry, are enough to keep them booking rooms at the All-Star resorts.
People talk a lot about the lack of amenities at the All-Star resorts, and I gotta say, I was there the other day in a pretty big storm, all right? People were coming in soaking wet, and there were all these cast members lined up with stacks of fresh, clean towels to hand out to everybody as they came in to dry off for a little bit before heading to their rooms. So there may not be an amazing sit-down restaurant, and there may not be a water slide and some of the other things that you get to enjoy when you stay in a moderate or deluxe resort, but there is a solid cafeteria at each of these resorts now with really interesting and I think delicious options. You've got newly remodeled rooms that are very fresh and innovative in how they're designed and offer you the ability to transform the room with the Murphy bed and really create more space in there, and they feel a lot more clean than they did. So I think there's actually a lot of pluses to staying here now, as long as you're in a remodeled room. The pool, there's pools, decor, fun. Make sure you're doing those tie-dye t-shirts that I talked about in another video. Get your tie-dye t-shirt made. There's fun things to do over there at the All-Stars, kind of.
And though some of the theming is a little cheesy, it can be fun. You can pretend to play sports on the giant fields at sports, pretend you're a toy in Andy's room at movies, or swim in a guitar-shaped pool at music.
I'm a fan of cheesy decor, and I think your kids will be too. Like, if you want a resort that's gonna please your kids, there's a huge thing of Play-Doh. I'm excited. You know what I mean? Like, a kid is gonna step into Grand Casino Tower over at Coronado Springs and say, like, Salvador Dali and Walt Disney. Who cares, Mom and Dad? I like music the best, because when you're walking around, each section has the classic music playing that goes with the section. So the rock section has rock and roll, the country section has country music, the Broadway section has Broadway tunes. So I love that you get to listen to the different musics that the resort is themed around as you're walking around. And they also play more fun music at the pool.
All-Star Music also has family suites for groups of up to 6 people, and it's often one of the cheapest ways to stay on property in Disney World with a larger group. If you're worried about the rooms, both music and movies now have refurbished rooms, and sports is supposed to get some room refurbishments sometime in the future.
But, it just depends on your taste, what you're looking for. Some people might prefer that more traditional, relaxed vacation kind of vibe that you might get with some of the moderate or deluxe hotels. But if you really want to have a 100% all-around Disney vacation, I think that the All-Star resorts are a great option. For some people, it might be nicer to come back to a hotel room that's a little bit more soothing and doesn't have flounder just right in your face when you're trying to sleep.
There are a lot of things I like about staying at an All-Star resort, especially since they've done their renovations. So the first thing that I think is really important that I actually really like is the Disney theming. It's great theming. It might be a little bit old, but I think it's exciting. You get to walk out, everything is themed, everything matches. There are big statues of your favorite characters. And if you have kids, that's a great indication that they're starting their Disney trip. The second thing that I like is the price. I am just fresh out of college, so I am still on that college budget mindset, and I love the pricing for All-Stars. But I also am someone who thinks that rooms are meant for sleeping and not for hanging out when you're at Disney World. But if you like to spend a lot of time in the room, maybe not your best option. The third thing that I really like is ever since the renovations, there's a lot of storage space. I think it's great. I am somebody who is a serial overpacker. I always pack way too much. People end up tripping on my things. They end up falling over my things. It's just too much because I have to leave everything on the floor because there's nowhere to put it. So I think it's really great that there's a lot of storage for me to put all of my extra junk that I bring to Disney World. Also, it's not junk. I need all of it.
Reader Teacher Man Joe said, "Look here, buckos. Are the All-Star Resorts the most amazing and luxurious resorts you will have ever stayed in? No, most definitely not. However, as the most value-centric locations on property, they are meant to be exactly that. Values." And another reader said, "Don't know why people complain. It was a very nice hotel, clean, and the people who were working there were very nice. You were sleeping, showering, and taking a dip in the pool." All-Star Resorts, the pros. It's inexpensive for Disney World hotels, and you can get family suites at a cheaper price with fun Disney themes. The cons? Only buses are available for transportation, and they are kind of far from the parks with no fancy amenities.
Overall, I think that the All-Star resorts are a really great option for people who are coming to Disney, but you might be on a budget or you might want to allocate your money elsewhere. You can save money on your hotel room, but still stay in a Disney resort and get all those amenities that come with it, like the free travel to the parks, and of course, all the amenities to your specific resort.
Controversial opinion, I like them. I know. I used to be very anti All-Star Sports, movies, whatever you want to call it, the All-Star Resorts. I did not like them. But when I was in college and started paying for my own Disney trips, I fell in love. It was so nice to be able to come with my friends and we could afford to stay and still go to the parks and not feel overwhelmed with what we were paying. And again, we were always in the parks or we were always out doing something. We were at the pool, we were doing anything that wasn't in the room. So really at the end of the day, the rooms didn't matter that much to us. If you feel like me, I think All-Star are a great option for you. If you don't feel like me, if you're looking for a nicer room, this definitely should not be your first pick. It probably should be your last pick, and that's okay. All-Stars are not made for everyone, but I am an All-Star lover.
I kind of like these resorts. I'm sorry. I know you probably want to hear negative things come out of my mouth about All-Stars because they are popular to hate, but I think Disney's done a great job with the remodeled rooms and the fresh menus in the cafeterias, and I'm sorry, I kind of like them.
Disney's All-Star Resorts, you're getting what you pay for. Smaller rooms, outdoor hallways, less access to dining, but you're still getting Disney level service, Disney perks like transportation to and from the parks. You're on Disney property, so you're not as far as some off-property options. And you're paying rates that are a little bit closer to what I think a hotel actually should cost. So yeah, I think the All-Star Resorts are a good value. Maybe that's a controversial opinion, but Teacher Man Joe agrees with me, and so does at least one other reader. So that's 3 of us. Join us in the comments. Tell us if you agree with us. Good value, or at least value enough.
Do you fall into the camp that loves or hates the All-Star Resorts? If you don't care about amenities but want something cheap, the All-Star Resorts are great, but if you want more than that, you probably want to skip. Of course, keep in mind that what's good for one person might not be good for you, but that's why we research and review to help you make the best decision for you. How would you vote? Let us know in the comments. This is Chris for AllEars.net. See you next time.